When someone you love is nearing the end of life, it's hard to know what to expect or look for. The doctors might be able to give you a general time frame, but it's not an exact science. As the final stretch approaches, your loved one may seem different, more tired, less responsive, but still clinging to life. Or perhaps when the end arrives, it's startlingly abrupt. However it unfolds, make sure to take care of yourself during this period too. Reach out to others, get rest when you can, and know that what you're feeling is normal, even if it's incredibly painful. This is likely one of the hardest things you'll ever go through. But you don't have to bear it alone. So here's the thing. How can you know when a loved one is going to die? People wonder about stuff like when it'll happen, if they should be there, that sort of thing. This guide talks about the 10 most common clues that the end is probably pretty near. But before we get into all that, let me answer a question folks ask a lot first. Can doctors and nurses tell me when my loved one is about to die? What medical specialists can do is give you a guess on how much time your loved one might have. This ain't always right, and sometimes what they say can be vague. But having some idea for when someone might pass can help family and friends start getting ready, especially if you're planning on having them die at home instead of a hospital. What signs of near death can I look out for when visiting my loved one? These signs don't always mean for certain that death is near, but they can mean that it is. 1. Changes to weight. When someone we care about gets close to dying, it's pretty normal for them to start losing weight and muscle tone. Even if they were kind of big before, now they might be looking really slender and delicate. They probably won't feel like eating much either. This whole losing weight and not being hungry thing can happen for a bunch of reasons. Maybe their body is slowly shutting down, or maybe it's the meds they're on messing stuff up. On the flip side, some peeps actually start swelling up all puffy instead, and this puffiness is from fluid building up inside, and it's called edema. Certain medicines can make this happen too. So basically, as folks get near the end, their bodies go through major changes in weight and appetite. It's all part of the process, even if it looks uncomfortable or downright weird from the outside. As long as we know what's going on, we can be there for them. 2. Eating and drinking less. As death approaches, it's common for appetite to fade. The body requires less sustenance, so trying to force a terminally ill loved one to eat often won't prolong their life. Still, comfort remains important, so offer nourishing favorites in tiny portions. Ice cream, yogurt, or ice chips can provide calories without struggle. Respect their wishes and comfort them without judgment. And this difficult transition challenges caregivers to surrender control and accept mortality's advance. Yet in loosening rigid expectations, space opens up for deeper connections. Not fixating on quantities consumed, but the quality of time shared. Each spoonful, when desired, sustains life. Each word and touch, when welcomed, sustains spirit. The end draws near, but love continues. 3. Sleeping more. When someone is getting close to the end of life, regular stuff can really wear them out. Something as simple as sitting in a chair for a while, or even just sitting at all, might be too much for them to handle energy-wise. So it's no surprise if your loved one feels like sleeping a lot more and would way rather lie down in bed than do anything else. At this point, you got to help the person however you can. Do their laundry, make sure they're comfortable, call the doctor if needed, and help them use the bathroom. If your loved one wants to pass at home, but you don't quite feel up to doing certain stuff yourself, like taking them to pee or giving them a shower, you can always get hospice care to come to the house. 4. Feeling hotter or colder than usual. When a person gets close to passing on, their body tends to have more trouble controlling its temperature like it used to. So they could feel hotter or colder than what's normal for them. If you notice your loved one going through this, you can ask if they want you to grab them a blanket, crack open the window a bit, or make them something hot or ice to drink, if their appetite is still there, of course. Sometimes little things like that can help someone feel more comfortable when their health is fading and it's a small way to show you care and want to ease any suffering when you can. Just don't force anything on them. Keep an eye out for what might make them more at ease as things progress. It's tough to go through for both the ill person and for you as their caretaker. 5. Breathlessness. When someone's getting close to passing, they might start feeling short of breath, even if they didn't have breathing issues before. We call it dyspnea. It just happens sometimes when death's knocking at the door. If you got a loved one going through this, do what you can help them stay relaxed. Being anxious will only make the breathing feel worse, and little things to make them more comfortable can go a long way. 6. Issues with their bladder. As death draws near, it's common for folks to lose control over their bladder or bowels. The muscles start to let go as the body winds down, and for the dying, this lack of control can be mortifying. Best thing is, keep their dignity intact as can be. The medical staff can advise on pads and wipes to manage accidents. Their job is to help the patient feel as comfortable as possible. So speak up if you have concerns over preserving modesty. It's a sensitive time. 7. Noisy breathing. We all get pretty annoyed by loud, noisy breathing, right? Like when you're on the train trying to read or something, and the person next to you is huffing and puffing away. Or when you're at work and your cubicle mate breathes really heavily. Oh man, or how about when your partner is sawing logs right next to you in bed and you're laying there wide awake? Super annoying. But here's the thing. When someone you love is real close to dying, they can start breathing in this noisy, mucusy way too. And it's not quite the same as those irritating sounds that drive you nuts, but it can have this real raspy, rattly quality to it. Some call it the death rattle. Basically, fluids and stuff can build up because the person isn't able to cough anymore or clear their throat. You can kind of help though. Ask the doctor or nurses about shifting their position or giving meds to quiet the breathing down a little and make it more comfortable. They might not always be able to give something, but doesn't hurt to ask. And even though the rattly breathing can sound bad, chances are your loved one isn't actually in pain or distressed. This is pretty common right near the end. So try not to freak out too much about it. Easier said than done sometimes, though. I know. 8. Body pains. When someone we love is passing, one of the main things we worry over is if they're hurting. And the hard truth is, sometimes they are in pain. But there's good news too. If we get them the right care and treatments, we can make them comfy so they can die without much suffering. There's stuff doctors can do to help with pain, like giving medicines and treatments. And we can help by being there for our loved one, talking to and comforting them. That way they know they aren't alone, and little things like cooling a fever, pillows for support, or just holding a hand can make a big difference. The end goal is to allow our loved one die with dignity and as little pain as possible. It may not be easy, but with compassion and care, we can help their last days be peaceful. 9. Restlessness and becoming agitated. It's tough when someone you care about is dying and having trouble getting comfy. They might be worried about what comes after, or just anxious in general, or they could have bed sores or be in pain. If they seem uncomfortable, talk to their doctor or nurse. There's usually ways to help them feel more at ease in their last days. Making them feel loved and relaxed is so key too. Do what you can to create a warm, soothing space. Little things like that can really take the edge off physically. 10. Becoming delirious. If someone you care about seems suddenly confused or seeing stuff that ain't there, doctors call it delirium. It can come on fast, over just hours or days. Freaky, I know. Meds can help chill them out, but as their friend or family, you got to be their rock too, and comfort them. Let them know you got their back. They're safe. Reassure them this scary head trip is temporary, and you'll ride it out together. Even if they don't make sense, stay calm, speak softly, maybe hold their hand. That human touch can be more grounding than anything the doctor whips up. This too shall pass.